They say rebirth begins where everything falls apart. But not every death is a funeral. Sometimes it's waking up in a life that no longer fits, staring at the ceiling, realizing you've been living as a ghost of your own design. That's how transformation begins, not with fire, but with silence. Jung understood this, that the collapse of the outer world is an initiation into the inner one. When everything familiar crumbles, the psyche starts to whisper in symbols, dreams, and strange moods. It's the soul calling you back from exile. To rebuild yourself from the inside out, you must first descend into that darkness, not to escape it, but to listen. Every fragment of pain, regret, and forgotten passion lies waiting beneath the surface, like buried stars under black water. This descent is not punishment. It's purification. Because what's been buried is not broken. It's simply waiting for you to remember it. The ruins of your old identity are not your ending. They are the raw material of your resurrection. Comment below, I enter the darkness to remember my light. Number 2, the encounter with the shadow. You meet the shadow the moment you stop pretending to be only light. It doesn't arrive as a monster. It appears as everything you've denied, everything you've buried, everything you swore you were not. Jung called it the hidden half of the soul, the unseen twin who has lived in your silence all along. When you turn inward, it steps forward, quiet and ancient, wearing your forgotten faces. The shadow is not evil. It is raw power, unclaimed truth, the energy you once locked away to survive. But it doesn't stay silent forever. It shows up as rage that won't die, as jealousy that burns, as the secret thrill of your own destruction. It's the dark mirror saying, this too is you. And in that reflection, most people run. They flee back into the comfortable lie of perfection, into spiritual bypassing and empty light. But you, if you are to rebuild yourself, must stay. You must stare into its eyes long enough to recognize your own reflection in the abyss. That is the alchemy, turning the poison into medicine. Every fear holds a gift. Every wound hides an untold story. The shadow is your unlived life, your creativity, your instincts, your passion, your power, all turned against you because you refused to claim it. Integration begins when you stop moralizing yourself and start meeting what's real. You must dare to say, yes, that anger is mine. Yes, that envy belongs to me. Yes, that darkness is part of my wholeness. Only then does the split begin to heal. The light that denies the dark is fragile. The light that embraces it becomes unbreakable. So when you meet your shadow, don't fight it. Sit with it. Learn its language. Ask what it's been protecting all these years. Every nightmare wants to be understood. Every demon was once an angel exiled by shame. Bring them home. That is how transformation begins. Not by slaying your darkness, but by holding it until it remembers it's divine. Comment below, I am whole, light and shadow, both. Number 3, the descent into the unconscious. The descent is not a journey downward. It is a journey inward. It begins when the surface of your life can no longer hold the weight of your truth. The roles, the masks, the achievements, they start to crack, and beneath them, something ancient begins to stir. This is the call of the unconscious, the deep ocean beneath the thin ice of your personality. Jung knew that the soul hides what the ego cannot bear to see. So when you begin to fall, don't resist. The descent is sacred. It strips away everything false until only the essential remains. You will lose your certainties. You will question your sanity. The dreams will grow louder, symbols will speak in riddles, and reality will shimmer like a veil about to tear. But this chaos is not madness. It is meaning reorganizing itself. The psyche is rearranging the universe inside you. In this place, time bends. You begin to meet archetypes, the mother who nurtures and devours, the warrior who protects and destroys, the child who longs to be reborn. These figures are not fantasies. They are living forces moving through your blood, shaping your fate. They rise from the depths to reclaim what you abandoned. Every archetype you meet reflects a forgotten truth of your being. The descent is the stage upon which these energies reveal themselves, demanding that you live authentically or perish symbolically. This is why Jung called it individuation, the slow, painful birth of the self. Here, there is no map, only trust, only surrender. The unconscious does not speak in logic. It speaks in images, in memories, in the sudden ache of something you thought you'd forgotten. It will test you. It will ask for your honesty, your courage, your humility. And if you stay long enough, if you stop grasping for control, you will begin to see that even the darkness has an order, a rhythm, a strange compassion. The descent is not your destruction. It is your initiation. It is the baptism of the soul in the waters of its own depths. Comment below. I descend to rise transformed. Number 4, the archetypal awakening. When the descent deepens, you begin to see patterns, ancient, repeating, eternal. These are the archetypes, the primordial images that live within every human soul. Jung called them the gods within us, the hidden architecture of the psyche. They are not merely ideas, they are living currents of energy, shaping how you love, fight, create, and dream. Once the unconscious opens, they emerge like constellations from the night sky, each one carrying a fragment of your forgotten wholeness. The warrior rises first, demanding discipline, focus, and integrity. The lover follows, awakening passion, vulnerability, and desire for unity. The magician stirs the imagination, teaching you to transform suffering into wisdom. And finally, the sage, or the self, the great archetype of integration, appears not as a being of light, but as a circle of paradox, where all opposites reconcile. You realize that these forces were never outside you. They have always been your inner myth, waiting for you to live them consciously. Archetypes are mirrors reflecting what the ego cannot see. Each carries both shadow and gift. The warrior becomes tyrant when disconnected from compassion. The lover becomes addict when severed from discernment. The magician becomes manipulator when ruled by ego. Only awareness can balance them. To rebuild yourself, you must not destroy your archetypes. You must court them, learn their rhythms, their demands, their language. You must allow each to express itself in harmony, like instruments in a cosmic orchestra. Integration is not about perfection. It is about participation. You become the conductor of your own psychic symphony. When you awaken to the archetypal field, ordinary life becomes mythic. Every argument becomes a battle between gods. Every heartbreak becomes a sacred initiation. You see symbols everywhere, the serpent of transformation, the labyrinth of confusion, the sunrise of rebirth. The world begins to speak to you again, not through logic, but through meaning. This is the language of the soul, and once you learn it, you can never go back. You begin to sense a strange power stirring inside you, not dominance, not control, but alignment. You are no longer a victim of your unconscious forces. You are their vessel. You are becoming who you were meant to be, whole, aware, unshakable. Comment below, I awaken the archetype within. Number 5, the death of the false self. Every transformation demands a sacrifice, and the first to die is the mask. The false self, built from expectation, fear, and imitation, has been your armor and your prison. It kept you safe, yes, but it also kept you small. Jung called it the persona, the face we wear to survive in the world, the illusion of control we mistake for identity. You crafted it to be loved, to belong, to be seen. But what begins as protection becomes suffocation. The persona cannot breathe truth, it only performs it. When you begin to awaken, its walls start to crack. You feel the split between who you are and who you pretend to be, and it burns. This is not just emotional pain, it is a psychic crucifixion. The ego trembles as the soul demands authenticity. To rebuild yourself, you must allow the mask to fall, even if it shatters the image you've spent your life defending. You must face the unbearable truth that everything false must die so something real can live. This is the death Jung called the night sea journey. when consciousness is swallowed by darkness and stripped of its illusions. The false self doesn't die quietly. It screams, bargains, and clings to everything familiar. It will tell you that without it, you are nothing. But that is the lie. Beneath the collapse, something eternal waits, a deeper identity that does not need validation, applause, or permission. In this death, you will grieve. You will feel disoriented, emptied, nameless. You might even mistake this void for failure. But the void is sacred. It is the womb of rebirth. The soul cannot pour new wine into an old vessel. When the ego finally kneels, the self begins to rise, not as an idea, but as presence. You begin to experience a freedom that cannot be faked. You no longer chase meaning, you emanate it. The false self fears endings, but the real self knows that every ending is a return to origin. You will notice your relationships shifting, your desires mutating, your silence growing louder than your words. The death of the mask is not the end of your humanity, it is its beginning. You become transparent to your own depths. You stop living as a reaction and start existing as revelation. The ashes of your old identity become the soil of your becoming. Comment below, "My false self dies so my truth can live." Number 6, the alchemy of the soul. When the false self has died, the real work begins. Jung called this the alchemical stage of transformation, the secret art of turning lead into gold, darkness into light, and suffering into wisdom. But the alchemy of the soul is not done in laboratories of stone and flame. It happens inside you, in the quiet furnace of the heart. Every emotion, every conflict, every wound becomes material for your inner fire. The alchemist within takes your pain and refines it again and again until it becomes essence. This process is not glamorous. It is raw, slow, and brutal. You will feel as though you are dissolving because you are. Your certainties melt, your ego liquefies, and you are left in the stage Jung called nigredo, the blackness of unknowing, the sacred rot where the old identity decomposes. Most turn back here. They cannot bear the heat. But if you endure, if you stay within the crucible, the blackness begins to shimmer. Something stirs within the ashes, a faint glowing awareness that does not depend on control. This is albedo, the whitening of the spirit, the purification of perception. You begin to see your suffering differently. What once seemed punishment now feels like instruction. You understand that nothing was wasted, that every heartbreak was a teacher, every failure an initiation. You begin to forgive, not out of weakness, but out of understanding. Forgiveness becomes a form of power. Then comes citrinitas, the yellowing, the dawning of new consciousness. You start to sense purpose rising from the depths. The inner sun awakens, not as an idea, but as an undeniable knowing. You are not broken, you are being refined. Every piece of darkness you've integrated becomes light that does not blind, but illuminates. Finally, the alchemist reaches rubedo, the reddening, the union of opposites, the birth of the self. Here, spirit and matter kiss. The divine and the human become one breath. You no longer seek transformation, you are transformation. This is the secret Jung discovered, that enlightenment is not escape, but embodiment. The gold is not found outside you, it is forged within your wounds. To rebuild yourself from the inside out, you must become both the fire and the one being burned. You must become the artist of your own soul, turning fear into courage, shame into strength, chaos into creation. The alchemical path is not about becoming pure, it is about becoming whole. The lead of your past, the ashes of your pain, the storms of your mind, all of it belongs. All of it is sacred. Stand in your fire, let it transmute you. You are not being destroyed, you are being made. Comment below, I am the fire that transforms my own darkness. Number 7, the return of the inner light. After the alchemy, after the flames, there comes a silence. A sacred stillness where you begin to see what has been reborn in you. This is the return of the inner light, not a light of comfort or naivety, but the fierce, steady glow of awareness that has survived the dark. It does not blind or boast, it simply is. Jung understood this as the emergence of the self, the totality that holds both shadow and spirit. You are no longer at war with your darkness. You are its keeper. You do not seek to escape the world because now you understand. You are the world, and the world is you. The light you were chasing outside has always been burning within, waiting for you to turn inward long enough to notice it. This inner light is not about positivity. It is about clarity. It allows you to see without illusion the beauty and brutality of life, the divine pattern within chaos. You start to perceive meaning not as something found, but as something revealed through presence. The universe begins to feel intimate, personal, alive. Every sound, every silence, every coincidence carries a whisper from the depths. You begin to trust existence again, not because it's safe, but because it's real. The light returns through acceptance, through surrender, through the courage to be exactly what you are, both creature and creator, both myth and flesh. Now, your actions flow from authenticity. You no longer chase validation or flee judgment. You speak less, but when you do, your words carry the weight of truth forged in fire. You stop needing to be understood and start embodying understanding. This is the quiet revolution of the soul, the rebirth of integrity. It's not dramatic, it's sacredly ordinary. The light does not demand attention, it transforms through being. In this stage, synchronicities begin to multiply, meaningful coincidences, those strange moments when reality mirrors your inner state. You begin to see how psyche and world are woven together, how every event is part of your unfolding myth. Jung called this unus mundus, one world, one pattern, endlessly reflecting itself. The veil between inner and outer dissolves. You walk through life as both participant and witness. You realize that healing was never about becoming perfect. It was about becoming whole enough to see that perfection never existed, only balance. The return of the light is not an ending. It's a beginning, the dawn after the storm, the moment the soul opens its eyes and recognizes itself everywhere. You have not escaped the darkness. You have become its light. Comment below. I am the light that rose from the dark. Number 8. The union of opposites. Every great transformation leads to one ultimate revelation. Wholeness is born from contradiction. The human soul, Jung discovered, is a battlefield of opposites. Light and shadow, masculine and feminine, order and chaos, creation and destruction. To rebuild yourself from the inside out, you must learn to hold these forces without tearing yourself apart. This is the sacred marriage, the conjunctio, the mystical union where opposites meet and merge within you. It is not harmony in the shallow sense. It is tension made sacred. It is learning to breathe between extremes without choosing sides. The ego seeks purity, the soul seeks wholeness. You are not meant to be one thing. You are meant to contain everything. The masculine in you wants to build, protect, and move forward. The feminine in you wants to feel, nurture, and surrender. Both are holy, both are necessary. When one dominates, life collapses into imbalance. When they dance together, creation begins. The same is true of every polarity. Your rational mind and your wild intuition, your discipline and your freedom, your control and your chaos. Each holds a fragment of truth. The union of opposites is the moment you stop trying to choose and start allowing both to coexist. This is where paradox becomes power. In the psyche, this union is symbolized by the alchemical marriage of the sun and the moon, the conscious and the unconscious, the king and the queen, the spirit and the matter. When they merge, something entirely new is born. The inner child of eternity, the self made whole. Jung said that this reconciliation is the true aim of life, not happiness, not success, but completeness. And completeness requires the courage to love your contradictions, to say, yes, I am both fragile and strong. I am both sinner and saint. I am both the wound and the healing. This union is not achieved through willpower. It happens through surrender, when you stop resisting your own nature and begin to see the divine intelligence pulsing through every flaw. The shadow is no longer your enemy. It becomes your teacher. The light is no longer your escape. It becomes your witness. Together, they weave the fabric of your becoming. When you integrate your opposites, life stops being a problem to solve and becomes a mystery to live. You cease to seek balance as an external goal because you are balance embodied. The war inside you ends, and in its place arises a deep, grounded peace, a stillness that can hold both thunder and silence. This is the birth of the true self, not the part of you that chooses sides, but the one that holds the whole sky. Comment below, I am the union of all my opposites. Number 9, the sacred rebellion. There comes a point when transformation demands more than reflection. It demands rebellion. Not rebellion against the world, but against the prison of your own conditioning. Jung understood that true individuation is a revolt of the soul against the tyranny of imitation. The sacred rebellion begins the moment you refuse to live as a copy of someone else's idea of you. You have spent years, maybe lifetimes, bending yourself into shapes that pleased others, playing roles that kept you safe. But safety is not life. It is slow suffocation. The sacred rebellion is the act of reclaiming your original face before the world told you who to be. It is not about defiance for its own sake. It is about authenticity, about answering the soul's quiet command. Become who you are. This rebellion is not loud. It is not reckless. It is fierce and silent, unfolding from within. You begin to question every inherited belief, every second-hand dream, every voice that said, "Don't." You stop worshipping external authority and start listening to your inner authority, the deep, wordless wisdom that rises from your unconscious like smoke from a hidden fire. Jung called this the voice of the self, the organizing principle of your being, the God image within. When you follow it, the world might misunderstand you, even condemn you. But the price of truth is misunderstanding, and the reward is freedom. The sacred rebel does not destroy for destruction's sake. They dismantle illusions to make space for authenticity. You begin to see how society profits from your fragmentation, how the world teaches you to fear your depth, to distrust your intuition, to doubt your worth. The rebel in you rises not with hatred, but with clarity. You stop obeying systems that thrive on your unconsciousness. You become your own authority, your own law, your own myth. This is terrifying at first. Freedom always is. But it is also the only state in which the soul can breathe. This rebellion is not against the world itself, but against the false within it. The hollow pursuits, the synthetic meanings, the empty noise. You no longer seek approval because you have found something more dangerous and more divine, self-respect. You realize that rebellion, in its highest form, is love. Love for truth, love for freedom, love for the raw, unrepeatable essence of who you are. The sacred rebel lives by the fire of their own insight and walks the path no one else can walk for them. This rebellion is not chaos, it is alignment with the deeper order of your being. The sacred rebellion is your declaration of existence. I will no longer betray myself to belong. It is your awakening roar, your return to authenticity, your birth as an individual soul standing whole in a divided world. Comment below, my rebellion is sacred, my truth untamed. Number 10, the eternal return of the self. In the end, every journey inward leads you back to the beginning, but not as the same person who began it. This is the eternal return of the self, the circle completed, the myth fulfilled. You come home to yourself, not the mask, not the memory, but the living essence beneath all names. Jung believed that the purpose of life was not to become perfect, but to become whole, and wholeness is never static. It breathes, it moves, it dies, and is reborn with every season of your becoming. You realize now that transformation is not an event, it is a rhythm, a pulse, an eternal dance between light and shadow. You have descended, died, burned, risen, rebelled, And in doing so, you have remembered. You are not the fragments you once feared. You are the totality that holds them. The self is the union of opposites, the alchemist's gold, the philosopher's stone, the divine spark hidden in the human form. It is the silent observer behind all your stories, the still point around which chaos turns. When you return to it, peace doesn't mean the absence of struggle. It means you are no longer divided by it. You live as one integrated being, luminous and grounded, sacred and human. Now, every act becomes ritual. Every breath becomes a prayer. You see the world not as something to conquer, but as something to love. This is what it means to rebuild yourself from the inside out, to become the bridge between heaven and earth, between the unconscious and the conscious, between what you were and what you are becoming. Comment below, I have returned to myself, eternal and whole. And if this journey spoke to something deep within you, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more explorations into the shadow self. Your transformation is only beginning.